The Bellevue Motel stood off the old highway. Most folks forgot it was even there. It was a relic, a forgotten place. Time had chewed at its edges, leaving it ragged and mean. Locals whispered stories about the Bellevue. They said it had a dark past, a history stained with unsettling events. They said bad things happened there, especially in the quiet, forgotten rooms. Few cars ever turned down its cracked asphalt driveway anymore. The sign, once bright, now hung crooked, letters missing, a grim welcome. There was a particular legend tied to room 214. Every spring, they said, when the nights grew warmer and the crickets sang their strange songs, something stirred within that room. It wasn't just one story, but many, passed down through hushed conversations. Tales of travelers who checked in, never to be seen again. Tales of strange lights and unsettling sounds. The room held a reputation, a chilling aura that kept even the most curious away. People said it waited patiently for someone new to arrive. The motel itself was a picture of decay. Paint peeled from the wooden walls like sunburnt skin, revealing grey, weathered boards beneath. Weeds, tall and defiant, pushed through cracks in the pavement, reclaiming the space. Windows were dark, like vacant eyes, some boarded up, others simply black with grime. The air around Bellevue always felt heavy, thick with unspoken secrets and a profound sense of desolation. It was the kind of place that made the hairs on your arm stand up, even in broad daylight. Most people knew to avoid Bellevue. They drove past quickly, eyes fixed on the road ahead. They didn't want to look too closely. They didn't want to feel its pull, especially after dark, especially in spring. The motel seemed to breathe then, a shallow, cold breath that promised nothing good. It was a place where nightmares felt real, where the silence was louder than any scream. The Bellevue just sat there waiting, a silent trap by the side of the road. Nina was driving late. The highway stretched before her, a black ribbon under a starless sky. Her headlights cut a lonely path through the darkness. She was tired. Her old car, usually reliable, began to sputter, a cough, a choke, then silence. The engine died. The car coasted to a stop on the shoulder. She was alone, utterly alone. The darkness outside the car seemed to press in, vast and indifferent. Her phone had no signal, just no service. Panic began to prickle at the edges of her mind. She tried the ignition again. Nothing, just a weak click. The silence returned, deeper this time. She was miles from the last town, miles from anywhere familiar. The wind whispered through the tall grass by the roadside, a mournful sound. Every rustle, every distant animal call seemed amplified in the oppressive quiet. She took a deep breath, trying to calm the rising fear. She had to think, she had to do something. Then through the trees she saw it, a faint light, a single steady glow in the overwhelming blackness. Hope, fragile but persistent, flickered within her. It wasn't much, but it was something. It was a sign of civilization, or so she hoped. She got out of the car, the night air surprisingly cold. She locked the doors and started walking towards the light, her footsteps crunching on the gravel shoulder. The light seemed to beckon her forward, a lone beacon in the desolate landscape. As she drew closer, a shape emerged from the gloom, a low building, a sagging roof line, a sign barely legible, Bellevue Motel. It looked abandoned, almost derelict. But then she saw it clearly. One window was lit, just one, room 214. The light spilled from it, a pale yellow square against the dark facade of the motel. It was strange, so strange. Why just one room? An unease settled over her, but the thought of shelter, any shelter, pushed her onward. Nina approached room 214 with caution. The rest of the motel was a tomb of shadows. Only this room showed any sign of life, or what passed for it. The numbered plaque, 214, was askew, coated in grime. The door itself was ajar, just a crack as if inviting her in. A low, almost imperceptible hum seemed to emanate from within, a sound she could feel more than hear. She hesitated, a knot of apprehension tightening in her stomach. The air here felt different, colder. She pushed the wooden door gently. It creaked open with a sound like an old sigh. The room inside was surprisingly tidy, yet it felt profoundly untouched, as if frozen in time. Dust motes danced lazily in the beam of a single functioning bedside lamp. An old-fashioned, floral-patterned bedspread was neatly made. A peculiar, cloyingly sweet scent hung heavy in the air, like overly ripe flowers or forgotten perfume. It was a strange, unsettling perfume. It made her nose wrinkle slightly. Nina stepped inside, her shoes silent on the worn carpet. The air was thick and cold, a stark contrast to the mild spring night outside. The silence in the room was heavy, almost a physical presence. It pressed against her eardrums. She noticed the details: faded wallpaper with a repeating, unsettling pattern, a dark, heavy wardrobe in the corner, a single empty water glass on a small round table. On the nightstand beside the lamp lay a small framed photograph, its image too faded to make out. Suddenly, without warning, the door slammed shut behind her. The sound echoed sharply in the small space. She whirled around, her heart leaping into her throat. The old lock clicked firmly into place. She reached for the knob, her hand trembling. It wouldn't turn, it was stuck, or locked from the outside. Then the single lamp on the nightstand began to flicker. Once, twice, violently, and then with a soft pop it died, plunging the room into absolute suffocating darkness. Panic seized Nina, cold and sharp. She was trapped in the dark, in this strange, silent room. She fumbled for the doorknob again, her fingers slipping on the cool metal. It remained stubbornly unyielding. She rattled it, then pounded on the thick wood with her fists. "Hello?" she called out, her voice small and shaky. "Is anyone out there? Let me out!" Only the oppressive silence of the Bellevue motel answered her desperate pleas from the other side. Then she heard it, a whisper. So soft it was almost like the rustle of silk. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Nina, her name, spoken in a breathy, chilling tone. Her blood turned to ice. How could anything in this empty, forgotten room know her name? She hadn't spoken to anyone, she hadn't seen a soul. The darkness seemed to deepen, to become more alive, more menacing. The whispers continued, growing slightly in number, never in volume. "Nina." They slithered through the blackness, coiling around her. "You're here, Nina." It was a chorus of unseen voices, some sounding old, some like children, all faint, all calling to her. They seemed to emanate from the very walls, from beneath the floorboards, from the stale air itself. She pressed herself against the door, desperate for an escape that wasn't there. Fear was a living thing now, clawing at her throat. The next morning the sun rose, casting its indifferent light on the Bellevue motel. The birds sang. The world outside room 214 went on as usual, but inside the room was silent, dark, empty. The door was closed, innocently. Down in the dusty, cobweb-laden reception area, the old logbook lay open on the counter. A fresh entry, the ink still relatively dark against the yellowed page, read a single name: Nina. No last name, no date of departure, just her name. Nina was gone, vanished without a trace. The Bellevue kept its secrets. Room 214 waited.